Hi, Sagittarius. Alright, welcome to this space. Welcome back if you're returning. Okay, so this month we're going to show the cards, at least for a little while. I feel like you're such a creative visual person, this could be helpful. I know maybe there's not like as much movement as you want with certain things, but there are many different ways to learn, right? So, let's see what your Hetchel cards are. Oh, beautiful. So we have the coffin and the heart. So, I guess for some of you, this could, let's look at this in the ways we can, what I see. Well, I guess literally speaking, this could be something where some of you, someone that you love has passed away. This could also be ancestors of yours that are coming to be of service to you in this time because of whatever you are letting go of. The coffin at times can be, it can be an ending to something that you love, right? It's about changes. It's like the essence of letting go, but it's in an active sense, right? Where it's kind of like, it is happening, this letting go. But it also is putting like a problem to bed, right? It's kind of like, I guess there's a great acceptance with this energy. Any of you who have gone through any kind of great loss recently, or even in the near, whenever you've gone through some kind of loss of something that you love, I want you to know that there is sympathy and care for you and around that situation. And I see again, it's regardless of what's going on in this present moment or has been going on, I also see this as your ancestors coming to help you. It's like they're around, or I don't know if some of you, didn't we talk about this? Alright, I have to look at you. It's too serious for you to look at something like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you need a face-to-face conversation. You know what I mean? Like a real, because that's a real conversation. I mean, you can have it on the phone, but there's something. So we talked about this, and I almost recorded you in the garden. I'll show you the garden at the end of the reading so you can see what has grown and what have you. But we talked about this, right? Oh my God, I want to cry. So in this time, this is Cancer season. Cancer season to Sagittarius is an inconjunct. In simple terms, this is, or in plain terms would be a better way to put it. In plain terms, this means that this is an emotional time for you. Hence I'm crying. Sagittarius doesn't usually, fire signs usually don't let water come out of them much. It depends. Like if you had it depends, but usually it's not, it's almost like you don't have control over it when it does happen. Do you know what I mean? So now this doesn't have to be literal. I need to express that, not for all of you, of course. Coffin to me is sort of it's an 8. It's Scorpio and it's Saturn energy. So this is also facing some sort of great fear, or acknowledging and having to accept some kind of change, you know. It could, it could be a variance of things. Now, the heart is beautiful, number 24. Because these two are together, right? It's not the coffin and the snake. I don't feel like you're unable to deal with something. It's not as if you're not accepting. But I guess I want you to be okay with the emotional part of whatever the changes are, so that you can be more in the place that you want to be emotionally in the future, if you kind of deal with it emotionally now. Does that make sense? And I see you don't have to worry about manifesting a bad thing by having a difficult feeling. I know you understand magic, probably more than the other fire signs, like how powerful you can be, right? Now, okay, so let's talk about this for a second. So in the game of hope, when you land, so usually this is it. I can't say the word. They're Hetchel cards. When you land on the coffin in the game of hope, what happens is you're sort of stuck there until another player comes and lands like right there with you, right? Which means that you will have support, I heard you'll have support eventually. And you obviously have people around you, but like the closeness maybe that you want isn't quite there. Or that comfort that you're really needing. I guess this is why you have to know what's going on with you emotionally, so you can actually receive what you want. You see what I'm saying? Or what you need to give to, because this could be somebody else in your life, although it's your reading, right? Because even if you were dealing with a situation outside of you, you still have feelings about that, right? Of course. So now you're not excluded from a situation either. Okay? Like when it comes to be your turn again, right? Maybe that's the thing. It's like, okay, last month was between places. Don't worry. You'll get there. I feel as if there's still a little bit of that going on, which, logically speaking, I suppose that makes sense. I was actually just talking to my mother about this, in between places, and how, sometimes in between is between joy and sorrow. You know what I mean? Like, so with the heart, what's beautiful here is the heart actually has you move forward, right? How many are in between there? $16. Just a second. So this goes back to the stars. So Gemini received the star, and so did Cancer's energy. So I guess this is an emphasis on thinking about what you feel. This could also be having a conversation with your children, or having conversations with those that you love. this could also be an inner child conversation about, like, what is the first funeral you ever remember going to? A person that you loved, a person that you knew. Who was that one? How do you feel about that? Because what's in between here, I guess, is clarity. Okay, and I know that's kind of hard, right? Think about just even the word visualizing a coffin, right? Most people have such a negative connotation to, okay, this is the close of something. But the only way a seed can grow, most things grow, is because fertile soil is full of that which has closed its cycle. Do you know what I mean? That's what makes... So I guess you kind of try to view it, if you can, in a very natural... that this is a natural process. Whatever you're going through, I want you to... Maybe you need to remind yourself, like, okay, this is a natural process, right? Say your creativity's stuck, or you're feeling sad, or you're not feeling like the way that you usually do, or have the energy, or something like this. Like, your optimism, right? You're a very optimistic person. Say it's not really high. It's like, okay, well, there's... Women who run with wolves taught me this. All energy is like water, right? Sometimes it's a raging, it's like a really powerful river. Sometimes it's a little bubbling brook. Sometimes it's just a little spring coming out of the earth, just little boops at a time, right? It's impossible to go 100% fire all the time, right? We have to rest, right? And figure out where you feel at peace. Maybe it's feeling more at peace in the quiet. Okay, so you also received a blank card, which I think is very interesting. I think there's 2 or 3 in this deck. Let's see what your other card is. Bon voyage. Oh, beau voyage. I can't say it in Italian. So this is about the pleasant journey. Okay, so for some of you, perhaps there is kind of something that's wiped clean again, or an opportunity for a fresh new start with something. This doesn't have to be all of you. This could be happening in the future, where you're just kind of prepping yourself, right? Although you're a mutable sign, I think most humans, in my opinion, change is hard. Some people are more open to it, but sometimes change is hard, especially when you've been doing the same thing for a long time. You know what I mean? And I feel like your other reading talked about this, right? Where it's kind of like, okay, well, if you've been clinging to anything, then it could be a little bit harder. But if you're open to it, right, the heart sits next to the pleasant journey, right? So this is, well, I see again, support and positivity and love. Let's open up your other cards. Page of Pentacles, beautiful. It's all about learning, wanting to learn, and the King of Cups, amazing. Let's look at your other ones. Okay, you have Waking Water and Heavy Hitter in reverse. We're going to take it like that, okay? We're going to take it the way that it comes, right? Now, you can turn it around if you want to. But let's take it as it is right now. When there's a wake in the water, it's like the water's waking up, right? So again, there could be something emotional in this time that's kind of bubbling, right? I believe usually when there's a bit of a wake in the water, it's like where it sort of makes the little bit of foam, right? Because it starts to move somewhat. Now, if you're willing to be open to what this is trying to teach you, then it is not a heavy hitter, right? This isn't a tidal wave coming to knock you down and drag you across the coral, okay? This is more of, all right, this might have been placid here, right? And now it's starting to move. Well, you can handle that. Look at that water back there. There's some waking water, right? But he's very calm. So who can you learn from in your life that handles situations emotionally very well? Who is it that you feel is very emotionally mature, as my grandpa would say? If you're trying to get someone else to open up, they may be a bit reserved at this time. This could also be parts of you. Try as you may to be as conscientious in how you are dealing with something. This will help you to deal with others better. Now, you don't lose your optimism here, which is good. So, like, under the surface, again, even if the conscious place in you is like, I don't feel as positive as I usually do, right? Again, to me, Sagittarius is so positive. You're always like, well, it'll work out, you know, and we need that. You know, you and Leo, out of all the fire, are the most optimistic. Aries can do it too, but Aries can flip-flop because of Libra. So the point is that is still there. You can help other people so much to find that positivity. So I guess this is also a time for you to help yourself in addition, or at least to understand what's going on so that you can verbalize, right? The opposite of you is Gemini, to communicate, we're in Cancer season, how you feel, or to understand that information that's coming in to you, so that you can also find what you want, right? Say someone else in your life is going through something very difficult. Of course, that's going to affect you, right? And you want to help, right? I see that. And you can if they want it. But if they're being reserved again, or if they're being stubborn, or if they have habitual kinds of things, it's like you got to kind of handle what you can on your end of it. Do you see what I'm saying? You do have an emotional lesson right now. Let's see what this little page wants to say. Okay, thank you. The Joker. I can't see what that means yet. Just a minute. I want you to remember that you have support no matter what you're going through. Okay? But you have to believe that and or accept it. 8 of Hearts. Yes. Scorpio's your neighbor, you know. So what neighbor do you have that lives around you that's very insular? Like you don't see them much, or they're kind of like, it's like you just see shadows of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, or they're hidden a bit. Who is that? Or what kind of neighbors do you want? That could also be something where, what do you want your environment to be like? And I guess starting with the coffin, because we can take this as death is change, right? We talked about this again 2 months ago. As death is change, they're synonymous, right? These words. Everybody deals with that differently. Everyone has a different perspective on that. And especially if you're from the West, we've been programmed to be so fearful of that. Right? We process it really quickly, we put it aside, and we act like we're not supposed to, I don't know, like look at it or talk about it even. You know, it's kind of like, but the thing is sometimes it's very helpful to talk about what's going on in the heart. Not only to other people, but also with yourself, right? Because everything in life could be really golden, but you can still have a bad day. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to show you something in the garden before we go. Just a second. Might be a little funky for a minute. Come on, Zoomy. I'll put her inside. Come on, baby cakes. This way. This way. There you go. Good girl. I'll be right back. Go for a walk. Grass is so dry here. It hasn't rained in so long. It's been so hot that I just haven't been able to. I'm just doing what I can. You know what I mean? So things are finally getting pretty green and tall, which is really nice. Hold on, I'm going to be fuzzy for a second. Gotta make a better gate. So, you know, it's doing its things. You know, there used to be a Hubbard squash right there. 2 of them. They're really big. They grew all the way around there and all the way over here, but for some reason or another, it just kind of something happened to it. And I guess that's the whole cool thing about gardening to me. Is a part of it is like, it teaches you so much about growth, but it also teaches you about, like, how to make sure, like, you got to keep up with little things, you know, and make sure that nothing's eating it away, you know, or, like, I have to come in and check for pests all the time. Ooh, look, there's good tomatoes. They're turning red. Can you see? You know, it's quite a lesson. And sometimes things grow well, right? Look at this amaranth. Can you see hold on. Can you see the really tall one? And then all the other short ones? It's like things grow at their own rate. And sometimes in the garden, it's like, oh, that one didn't really grow at all. Or, oops, I got to pull that one. That one died. I got to pull it out. You know, but what it does is it gives more space, and it teaches you. Every time that something changes, that there's a change, then it teaches you, right? Like, for instance, the whole reason why a tomato turns red is because it's in its process of dying, right? It would go from a seed to a leaf to a flower to a fruit, and then it would mature, and then turns red, right? And then eventually it would rot and then fall off the plant because it went through its full cycle. And then that seed, actually, my uncle told me that you can just let some of your tomatoes fall if you have too many. And then the next year, you have new tomatoes there. You don't even have to plant them. They'll just come right up. You know? Just a second. I want to get one of those. Not yet. I'll show you one of my beans. Hold on. Preacher beans are so good. See the purple on them? You know, some things grow so fast, it's hard to keep up. And so I guess that's what's helpful sometimes about things growing slow or having that in-between space, is it gives you time to appreciate, you know, what's maybe growing around you. And what's cool is the whole lesson of it is, you know, I learned so much this year from doing something different in my garden. You know, I've never grown corn before, never grown amaranth, never grown poblano peppers. Grew a bunch of new things. Tiger melons. And then next year, because of the mistakes actually, the good parts and the things that I did well and the parts that I messed up on, it's like it's all just a learning lesson. You know? Well, I love you so much. And I hope you have a good month. You are last on the roster, by the way, so to me that's always a little bit of it's a time of patience. Not that you aren't supposed to get certain things done. Obviously, we have to do the basic stuff to survive, right? But please take a little time to just be. You know, the in-between place, it's okay. You know, it reminds me of those monks, you know, where you just end up being content. It's kind of uncomfortable for the human, right? Peace. We're not used to it. It's been centuries, probably, since the human generally has had peace most of the time. You know? And if you are really worried about something, I would watch Scorpio's reading your neighbor. Okay, neighbors are always really good lessons. Alright. I'll talk to you next time.